Have you ever wondered why, when they teach us about our history, it only begins at slavery?
Black people were learning just fine prior to 1954. They did not desegregate public schools so black children could get a better education.
A quick story on how this white girl grew up in a completely white town, not taught anything but white.
Hi guys, my name is Esther Daniel and you're welcome back to the channel. So I came across a video that said something so real. I had to stop and think. It really hits me because it's true and not enough of people are saying it out loud. This white woman said, small towns are not taught culture and race. Parents teach racism. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but she's right. Racism isn't just some random things people grow up with. It's taught, it's passed down, and most of the time, it starts right at home. Before we dive into the video, please subscribe to the channel, like and share the video to help the channel out.
A quick story on how this white girl grew up in a completely white town, not taught anything but white. Let's get into it. Grew up in a very small town in Iowa, and its name is Storm Lake. This small town in Iowa, as I was growing up, I only saw white people. There were not any people of color in school. Wait, yes, there was. There were 2 black guys, and they were adopted from one family. I didn't believe that there was Mexicans, but we weren't taught Mexican, so we didn't know what that was, okay? So we didn't know. It was only white, and that's all we knew. Until a big hailstorm hit that town one day, and the next thing you knew, there were Mexicans coming to town. I was like, oh my gosh, there's a Mexican, how cool. We're finally seeing a different culture. And then the Asians started to come slowly but surely, because in this town there was a pork plant and a turkey plant. So there was big manufacturing companies for people to come to this town and work. So slowly in my teenage years, I started seeing some Mexican, some Asian, and then I never saw black. But ironically, me and my best friend cruising around this small town one day, we call it cruising the loop. We actually saw this big, buff, beautiful, handsome, muscular man. And I was like, oh my God, girl, look at that guy. And we're all like, oh my God, and he's so tan, blah, 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 blah. So later that exact same day, we saw this beautiful tan man at a bar and discovered that he was not tan. He was black. But my God, was he beautiful. I actually married that first black man that I ever saw and didn't even realize he was black. I learned a lot from marrying and falling in love with this black man. I loved the culture. I loved how I loved all people. I loved just the way that they lived versus white. I mean, I'm sorry, people, but black guys, they got it going on, and they have a lot better parties, if you know what I'm saying. So the reality of this little blast from the past of mine is I got out of this little small town. I explored the world. I have learned that people are people, and you don't have to be white to make it. You can be black and be a happy person. You can be Asian. You can be anything. And they all are amazing cultures. So the people that are still stuck in this small town and they're little mega freaks, they haven't understood or had the opportunity to be able to see what the world really is, instead of just a boring little white people town.
Have you ever wondered why, when they teach us about our history, it only begins at slavery? How come they don't teach us anything pre-slavery about who we were or what we did? I want you to take a look at this video and tell me what you think in the comments.
Black History Month in the educational system is never before slavery. It's always from the plantation to the present or the cotton field to the current. We don't learn anything about what we were before we were kidnapped and brought to America and westernized and Caucasianized. We don't learn about what we used to be before we were brought here. We learn about the accomplishments of a slave under the slave master, or about a freedom fighter or a revolutionary who either was killed or their movement was broke. If we look back and we see us as slaves living in mud huts, working from can't see morning, can't see night for free, dressed in burlap, then we start getting a little apartment, $10 an hour, couple jackets, and think we didn't really came somewhere. Next thing you know, we start talking about we started from the bottom, now we're here. But if we could really learn about ourselves, we would say we started from the top, and now we way down here.
Once you start digging into your history and you really find out that you are the people of the Holy Bible, then you will understand why they created laws and statutes to keep you from reading, why they changed your name, why they took your identity, took your language, took your history. They stripped you of ever knowing anything about your past because they knew who you were when they picked you up.
Black people were learning just fine prior to 1954. They did not desegregate public schools so black children could get a better education. They desegregated black schools because they were concerned about the growth of black excellence. Keep in mind, we invented the gas mask before we went to school with white children. We invented the stoplight before we went to school with white children. We invented the refrigerated truck before we went to school with white children. They did not desegregate to help us. They desegregated to hinder us. They saw Black Wall Street in Tulsa. They saw Black Wall Street in Rosewood. They saw Black Wall Street in Wilmington, North Carolina. They saw Black Wall Street in Charleston. They saw independent black communities even here in Ohio. And they decided that if we want to stop the progress of black people, we must take over control of their children's education. And when they desegregated the schools, they did not bring black teachers with black students. The biggest layoff in public education is between 1954 and 1974 of black teachers. They brought our children into the schools. They fired the teachers. And so when our black children were bused into white schools, having to deal with not only bigoted white students, but bigoted white teachers, there was no black teachers in there to protect them.
Let's be honest, a lot of small towns in America don't teach culture. They don't talk about race unless it's negative. You can grow up in a place where nobody looks different than you. Schools never talked about slavery, police brutality, or colonization. And the only thing you hear about other race comes from your parents' mouth or Fox TV. They were raised not to care. And what they know, a lot of time, it's based on fear, lies, and old racist belief just keep getting recycled. I'm not just talking about some small town issue. This is how racism keeps growing. When parents don't step up and teach other kids better or worse, when they teach hate, they are passing that ignorance like a family tradition. And when schools dodge the topic completely, they are part of the problem too. If we want to break this cycle, it has to start early, at home, in the classroom, while we are still young, enough to learn the truth. If you are watching this and you know your hometown never taught you anything real about race, it's time to do better. Ask questions, talk to people outside your circle, read things that make you uncomfortable, and most of all, don't pass that ignorance down to your kids. Racism isn't born, it's taught. Let's stop teaching it. Drop your thoughts in the comments, especially if you grow up in those towns. I want to hear your story. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like and share the video to help the channel out. See you in the next video. Bye.